In the gym and in the car, with our advice you could go far. We fuck things up and we make mistakes, and talk about our sexy dates. We host events and go to clubs, but most of all we're still in love. It's getting hard for this to rhyme, just as well 'cause it's bed hopping time.
Hello and welcome to the Bed Hoppers podcast. My name's Mr. H, and with me today I have a very secret guest.
Well, it's not Mrs. H.
Well, it's not, no.
Ha! She's gone. It's me.
We killed her.
Just for clarity, we
didn't actually kill her. No, we may have just sent her out collecting Pokemon.
She's having fun, Mr. H. She's doing what she loves.
Well, yeah, just Pokemon hunting.
Precisely. But I'm Secret Stag, and I'm very happy to be here today to talk about some stuff.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some stuff. Now, we haven't planned this in typical fashion. We thought we'd sit down. It's the morning after the night before.
Yep.
And we thought we'd just talk about men stuff.
Yeah, my favourite thing here is that the page of notes literally just says Secret Stag.
Yeah.
And there's nothing.
Well, that's because I feel like you and I can have a conversation quite openly and it can go any number of places, but also that I have to remember your superhero name. And if it's not in front of me, then I will reveal that. Yeah, and I'll probably reveal it a few times and then I'll have to edit it because I'm only making more work for myself.
No, I think it's great that we get together because... For lads, we're not really lads.
No.
But I think men in this lifestyle getting together and talking openly about things is something that definitely needs to happen. And I think there's lots to talk about.
Well, we hope so, because we've got a whole podcast to fill of content now.
Well, first of all, could I jump in and ask you some questions?
Yeah, please do. That would feel lovely. He's not even taking me out to dinner first. He's going straight for the questions.
Talking about taking people out, I wanted to confront you cad, because you definitely took my wife out on a date recently.
I did.
I'm shocked and appalled in my very being.
Are you? And slightly turned on.
I'm a bad person. But how was that for you? Obviously, this was a new part of your journey that you and Mrs. H are exploring. Obviously, you've covered this. We don't want to retread too much, but sort of here face to face with me. How was that for you?
It was an interesting one. I think, we talked about how it came about, and Mrs. H was very excited to have made this thing up in her mind, despite sort of having announced it the day before. And I was excited about the idea of it. The tricky part was obviously that we've not reversed that date, so she's not gone on a date herself. But talking about my date with Secret Vixen, I think it was such a different thing to what we've been used to. In my head, it was, but actually on the day itself, we're so used to hanging around together as a four, and as in any combination of the four of us, that actually it didn't feel a massive stretch from where we were. I think the location of going to a club really doubled down on that feeling. And I think between the two of us, we weren't quite sure of how to behave as a result.
I think that's fair enough. We've known each other now for quite a number of years now. We've had some crazy adventures, you say, as a four and as a three without me being there. And I suppose you're so comfortable together, in order for you to experience that sense of newness, of a new style of the dynamic, you'd have to be in somewhere else maybe, which is you haven't done before.
Yeah.
A hotel together perhaps, or something like that. A club, I think, which is great fun. What do you think? Did that give you the opportunity to experience that
I felt
single guy experience?
It felt like a sample platter rather than the actual experience. So like a miniature Mars bar rather than the full Mars bar.
That's what my wife often says. Yeah, hang on, wait. It's different.
Well, I think it, and I'm not knocking the experience. It did feel as though we were able to experience, or I was able to experience part of the whole thing. But actually going to the club, particularly a club that I've been to before, I know that she hadn't been to that club. But particularly we weren't, because there were friends there as well.
Yep.
And because we sort of weren't quite sure of, are we going to the club as a couple? Are we going to the club just with each other? And how are we going to navigate this? And we didn't really talk about that in the car. I think we were both a bit like, oh.
Were you just pinching each other or like just taking the piss?
No. I think she spent 10 minutes bitching about the fact that the magic roundabout hadn't showed up yet. And then all of a sudden it was on us and then we were over it and we were both crying because it was horrific. And, we didn't run over the dog that was at the end of it, which is good. I think we were just having very much sort of generalized conversation because I think we didn't want to kind of acknowledge it too much in a way. And I think we were just kind of, okay, this is all normal. We're just here together. That's all fine. And when we got there, it was very much, it felt like that you and Mrs. H could have walked around the corner at any moment and been there. And in a way, I sort of was almost waiting for that to happen because it was such a familiar environment. Not the club itself, but us being in a club and us two being left alone together. And it did feel as though one of you were going to spring out going, ha, caught you. What are you two doing?
Caught in the act.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
For me, I should put this a different way perhaps. For you, you have such great attributes that would make you a great single man in the lifestyle, if I may say. You're excellent, obviously, in terms of your communication with me. That night you were fab. I mean, we shared messages beforehand, we spoke beforehand and afterwards. But I think, did you find it H on your mind, as well as trying to help Secret Vixen enjoy that experience and thinking about trying to be present or cognizant of me as part of that trio?
I think I actually enjoyed that part of it, and I wanted to dial into that more. And I felt that both Secret Vixen and I could have put on a bit of a show.
Venue prohibitive, perhaps.
Yes. And I think that was a bit of it. So the venue itself, obviously, you're not allowed your phones out and about, and you can use your phone when you go to the bathroom or if you're locked in a room or whatever. But it wasn't really conducive to it. But also, we saw friends while we were there, so it didn't feel like we could really do the building of excitement for each other as well. So and then it was harder to pass that back to you folks at home and share that. And I quite like the tease and the aspect and the writing and the pictures and all this sort of stuff. But I just felt like we couldn't really go ahead with that.
So much of my side of the experience is that build-up side of things, because. And it begins when you're together, my wife and I, her getting ready, and you're talking about it, even days before sometimes this is happening. And then the day comes around and it's all that build up. So obviously you had a lovely sexual experience with Secret Vixen, a little bit squashed, I heard. But that build up part, I suppose, was difficult. I would be interested if you were interested in seeing Secret Vixen again in that.
Okay. In the cupboard.
In the cupboard. Locked in the Harry Potter under the stairs.
Like stranded in the drive-in.
But I suppose for you and Mrs. H now, are you still pursuing this single play dynamic?
Yeah, we're still exploring a bit of that. I think to a certain extent, she's not particularly, as you'll know about Mrs. H, she's not particularly always very motivated to go out and look and do things.
Sounds familiar.
And you'll know this struggle. The struggle is real. So I don't think she's necessarily pushing because she doesn't want to scare me, but also she's not looking because, quite frankly, that involves effort. She'll never listen to this.
I'm not laughing at that because it can't be true, surely, if she's listening to this.
Definitely.
I don't think that's true. But obviously, again, there is going to be an element for you that may be more difficult because for me, my partner going out and having those experiences is core to my dynamic. But of course, for you, this is a big change.
Yeah.
And how do you manage those anxieties, maybe?
I simply pretend that they don't exist and ball them up inside my head.
That's healthy. We're coming on to health. This is the healthy way to do things.
I think that the interesting thing is that what I don't have that you have is the excitement about, Secret Vixen going out is clearly a very exciting prospect for you.
And before you go on, I should say that is not a bad thing because everyone is different. Everyone's experiencing their own way.
Absolutely. Thank you. But equally, I don't really get that level of feedback from Mrs. H when she does have an experience either. So I'm not sure if it's because, there is a bit of me naturally not being built that way, but also that level of thinking hasn't been encouraged either. So it's almost like a shot down piece. And I think to a certain extent with each other, we've almost been a bit sort of quiet about our experiences. Like, how was your experience? Great. How was your experience? Great. Was it nice? Yes, that's lovely. Okay, move on. And actually that doesn't encourage a level of, oh, that was really sexy or that was really fun, because there is no retelling of it. In fact, you've heard the podcast at one point or other, and you know what it's like trying to get her to tell a sexy story. It's hard. So I don't know whether that's something that if she were to sort of dial up even slightly, whether I would enjoy it or not. And granted, I think if I go back to much earlier days, not lifestyle, even pre-lifestyle, hearing about previous partners and stuff wasn't something that I particularly enjoyed.
Yeah.
So I don't know. In terms of how I deal with sort of things now, is often I tend to get through it because I have an experience that I have instead which takes my focus.
That makes sense, yeah.
But equally, we're well aware that working on an eye for an eye doesn't really do us that much good.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think there is an emotional development that I need to sort of work myself through. And the only way I feel like I can do that is by dipping my toes in some of these waters to sort of see how it feels. The problem is I'm I love chaos, but I'm risk averse.
Love chaos. This is true. I think a little healthy dose of chaos
is good.
Yeah.
But I'm also know that when I do get emotional and I have an emotional reaction to something, that I do become very emotional. So and I go into a bit of protect Mr. H mode. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to navigate it when we do get to that point. But I kind of feel like I need to test myself a little bit on it, because how will I ever know unless I try it?
I suppose it's about risk management, isn't it? You want to understand that with all lifestyle encounters, there is that element of risk, even if it's with you know and trust. And you want to ensure and safeguard yourself to make sure that you're looking after what's most important, which is your primary relationship with Mrs. H. So moving on past it, we've sort of said that you want to perhaps pursue that with the right conversations being had. Can we talk about men in the lifestyle?
We can talk about men. Right? We're men. Manly men.
Manly men.
Well, we're at least hobbits. I mean, I don't know if we can qualify completely
There's no one I'd rather go to Mordor with, Mr. H. We could take that fucking ring all the way.
We'd do it.
Taking the ring is not the kind of conversation we should be having.
No, particularly when the girls are out, right?
Mrs. H would love that. What have you been doing for an hour and a half? Well,
taking each other's rings.
Taking the ring.
Yeah. Oh, would you be tempted by the ring?
Would I be tempted by the ring?
Yeah. Would you want to?
We're talking about the
one ring. Yeah.
Probably. That ring does corrupt, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think you could probably, as with all things, you probably feel like, I could hold that for a little bit. I'd be all right.
You'd have the ring of moderation.
Right. Yeah. As with all things, just a little bit of ring.
Do they have like a Diet Coke version?
Ring light.
Yes. Where it's going to hurt you a little bit, but not that much.
Absolutely, yeah. And it only makes you slightly translucent, as opposed to fully invisible.
With only no calories, but it just strips the enamel off your teeth.
Oh my God! This is why women hate single men, dude.
Yes, probably. Yeah. This is the reason I think why we're not single.
There you go.
Because I think that the women that love us for our ability to talk about the one.
I tell you, I feel there's so many great single men out there, and obviously from our side of things, we're always looking for great single men. And I often have single men coming in trying to ask for advice.
Yep.
What if someone's listening out there, perhaps they're looking to become full or a single man, playing with couples, so to speak, or just wanting to get into the lifestyle? What advice would you give to men?
Well, I think for me, research is really important.
Yep.
So do your due diligence, do your homework, listen to the podcasts, go to the socials, go to the forums, ask questions, find out.
Yep.
And don't be afraid to ask questions. If you find the right community, people are going to help you and they're going to support you. And that can often be a great inroad to meeting people that you can eventually get to play with.
That is actually perfect advice. And it's absolutely what I did not do when we got into this, because when we got into this, I had a period of a decade beforehand of existing in this pure fantasy world where you'd be just watching pornography and wishing things were happening instead of actually having those honest conversations, listening to the people who have the experience and trying to.
But it's interesting. So you've come from a place of excitement about it, right? About pure, you are so far down the other end of that scale, whereas I entered this lifestyle in pure fear. And my research and reading into it and listening and all this stuff eased that fear. So it did help me on that journey. So I think some people that they're ready to jump in and their mind's already there because the power of that fantasy is so strong that it takes you over those gaps that you might have.
Yes.
But I think if you're coming at it from you're new and you want to get stuck in, and I think you need to temper that enthusiasm a little bit. I think it's great to be enthusiastic, but I think if you come across as really thirsty and you just want to drink all of that Kool-Aid, it's people are going to be scared. They're going to step back and they're not going to be interested. You need to come across as a calm, sane, in control person, because effectively you're going to be someone's going to be lending their wife to you. And it's,
I'm approaching things here from anecdotal sources, of course. So we get approached by people, single guys on Fab, other websites as well, you know. And it's very clear to see the ones who are taking it seriously.
Yep.
And the gentlemen who are taking it seriously, and the gentlemen who are chances, and the ones who perhaps wish it would be so, and it can't be. So taking the time to learn about the people you want to interact with, and carefully reading things and looking after yourself. I think you've done a whole presentation on taking good photos and how you present yourself as a brand, so to speak. And as a single guy, how you present yourself, I think is really important.
I think there is something to be said through getting the hygiene right, literal hygiene, the hygiene factors, but also a good profile. And also dressing well. Like the amount of times we've met people through events and stuff, and even couples and stuff, and they've just not dressed right. And it sends the wrong impression, and you make your mind up in the first 10 seconds. Yep. I mean, Secret Vixen makes her mind up in the first 10 hours.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if those hygiene factors, you know, if you're not smelling good, if you're not clean, if you're not calm, and if you're not dressed well and all this, then actually you're going to be put off. I'm not suggesting that you have to be wearing like an Armani suit every time that you go and meet people. No, but
I have many Armani suits
in your Armani suit collection. Absolutely. Yeah, I like the fact you came down with your Armani van.
I did,
just with all your suits.
The back of the van. I would agree with that entirely, and I think it's something that can be learned, because I definitely am learning the whole. I do wash myself just before we go into this clip. Cleaning myself,
teaching you how to wash.
I've learned.
We took him to a stream, listeners.
It's wonderful.
Yeah,
the first touch of the soap against my skin was a dream. But learning to have that self-love, because it is about that, like learning to dress well and look after yourself and find out what you look good in and what feels good for you and what suits you, even if your body type isn't exactly what you feel it could be. Dressing well can help you feel so much better about yourself. Yeah. And you've helped me with that. And I know
I've also washed and dressed you.
The first time I felt that cotton against my skin.
I do think one of the key things that everyone sort of says that is really important is confidence, right? And I don't think that means that you have to be an arrogant bastard, right? No. That's not what we're talking about here. And some people assume that being like, I'm a dom and I'm going to dom you. I'm so no, nobody. Please don't do that. Please don't.
Don't come raging for the door like a pillaging vibe.
No, but I think having confidence in yourself and belief in yourself is important. And it's quite hard to learn that, I think.
Yes.
But what I have found is that actually by working on myself, by improving the way that I dress, or trying to, or at least looking at the way other people dress and sort of emulating some of that stuff and sort of working on my own body. So if you've got hang-ups, everyone has hang-ups, right? About their own body, about the way they look, the way they talk, the way they sound, all this sort of stuff, the way their hair grows or doesn't grow, all this kind of thing. I think you have to kind of learn to be the best you with what you've got.
Yes.
And try and be happy with yourself. And for some people, that's going to take years. But actually, that confidence of just being okay in your own skin is so important when you're going out there and meeting other people.
And I've seen single men and single women couples show just that. Yeah. Having that self-love and self-respect for yourself, and understanding that you're worthy to be in these situations. And if you are able to show that confidence, not arrogance, able to show that confidence, that sort of spills over into your encounters with other people. And I know Secret Vixen definitely appreciates that. She loves confident men and women. Understand what they're able to bring to the table and look after themselves. And
the other thing, my other tip that I always forget to mention this one, right? And this goes for everybody entering the lifestyle. Well, most people entering the lifestyle. Get used to wearing condoms. Or most men in the lifestyle.
Yes.
Because I think so many people go through, particularly they're in couples, they've not worn condoms for ages. One of them's probably been neutered at some point or other, whatever the phrase is. That's probably happened. And they've gotten used to not using condoms. Then all of a sudden they get to this point where they have to put them on. And it's like instant fail time.
It's like they're 16 again.
Yeah.
They're fiddling around with the thing. It's inside out.
Yeah.
What have I done?
Yeah. So like, have a posh wank. Have like 3 or 4 posh wanks a week. Like get your free condoms from the NHS.
I want to do that. That sounds like
I enjoy a posh wank. Yeah. I don't like mess. This is you know this about me. I don't like mess.
Last time that lycra touched my skin.
Lycra? What are you using?
Not lycra. You know what I mean.
Latex.
Maybe I do the lycra one. You don't know me. We're on to something.
Which one are we going to see for Secret Vixen in? The latex or the lycra?
Both.
Yeah. and then nothing at all.
I mean, not just putting them on. understanding the importance of sexual health is massive. And I think for us as well, we came into the lifestyle 5 years ago. And as you mentioned, up until that point, sexual health wasn't something we had to consider.
Yeah.
We were together from young people. We've had our children. I remember being a young man and having a sexual encounter before my marriage and having an STI test. That was something that happened with me because it was something that I felt was important. But since then, it wasn't.
Yeah.
So entering the lifestyle, suddenly like, oh my gosh, I need to prove I'm serious here. I care about myself and my partner, and I care about the people we're going to interact with, and I want to show them we're serious. So coming on the NHS, getting tests delivered to you for nothing, costs nothing, except a bit of time.
Sorry, American listeners.
Oh, yeah. Bummer.
Yeah.
Sorry, team.
Yeah. But there's I'm sure there's testing services.
There's testing services
definitely
available.
Yeah.
Wherever you are, there is a service available to you.
Yes.
Okay.
Posh wank. I enjoy the posh wank.
Yeah.
I can't extol the benefits of it enough.
I mean, our ramblings are going on to wanking now.
Well, it only took 20 minutes before we started talking about wanking. I think just the getting used to the sensation of the condom and getting excited about the fact that you're using it. It's a tricky balance because you don't want to get so excited when you see the condom that you're about to come in. That's probably gone down the other end of the avenue. But I think getting used to the point of that. Oh, that means sexy times will help you overcome quite a lot of issues that could come down the line, especially sort of single guys in the lifestyle or guys in the lifestyle in general. Yeah. Performance issues are a real big thing, and you tend to find when the first time you see another guy. That can really get stuck in your head. That experience, that could be exciting. It could be fucking terrifying. And I think at that point, you're also putting the condoms on. So there's all this sort of association of stuff happening. Yep. And I think people get stuck in that loop for a long time. And it takes some people forever and a day to get out of that space where that's all they can think about. And they struggle to perform as a result. All sorts of stuff goes on. So posh wanks, save lives.
Posh wanks, save lives. Moving on from what you just said there about first time interacting with other men. So I would consider myself heterosexual. So I think you're on the same.
I'm on the same wavelength, yeah.
Absolutely. But obviously there was those first moments where we did interact with other men. How did you approach that? Because obviously you've now been in the lifestyle long way, and how did you find that?
The first time, you see another guy, see another guy naked or whatever. Yeah,
first guy, he's there and you're there, and oh my gosh, I've got to.
It's it's hard or not. That's the case with me for them. Yeah, I think that the first couple of times. I mean, our first experiences were with women first off, which how terrible and horrible for
episode.
Yeah, and the 2 blogs that we wrote on it. We'll write another one day. Honest, Gov. I think, and then when it was, then there was a guy in the room. I think, as always with me, I think my mind was very much on, I'm being entertained by someone else, so I don't mind too much. I think as a guy, you can't help but kind of go, all right, what do they got? What do they bring? And I don't think it was quite a while before we encountered like the monster of penises. Do you know what I mean? Like where you're like, holy crap, where they literally unfurl it and it hits the table. Yeah, and you're like, all right.
Days. Okay.
But what I find really fascinating, I thought, oh shit, she's like, this is a massive cock and she's going to have to deal with that. And actually that's exactly what happened, in that she had to deal with it. And I think for Mrs. H, it's kind of like that monster cock is not her thing. No, and she doesn't like being fucked for a long time at all. Great for me. Minimum effort. So good. And bad training, but but I think I was like, I get that some people absolutely crave the huge cock, but for our dynamic, it's like, they just happen to have a big cock. And in fact, if it's quite big, then it's too big for her and she won't enjoy it. So there is, but it takes a while for you to get into this place where you discover that as a couple, and you kind of go, all right. And then you've got the moments where you're in a couple dynamic and the other guy isn't performing. And that's where I sort of mentally struggle a bit more, because I'm like, then they're not doing it. And then I'm like, I feel sorry for that dude. And it's like, can I do to help? I can't actually really do very much other than some, sorry about that, man. Like,
I'm still doing a thing.
I'm still doing a thing. So do I carry on? Do I encourage the partner to go in and support? Mrs. H is doing their best to resuscitate them. And, it's so difficult to know what to do. But we've been in situations where sometimes the partner hasn't wanted to to go over and support the husband. And that's really fucking tough, because I have literally pulled someone off me and been like, no, you need to go and as much as this is fun or whatever, you need to go and support, help. I'm pointing over there. I don't know why, because this is a podcast and there's nothing where I'm pointing. Yeah, thanks.
Gentle listeners. Yeah. He's showing us.
Visualizing in my head the particular situation that's coming to mind. And I think this happens, and you can obviously follow up the conversations and talk and support and help people and give people advice afterwards. But when you're in that moment, it's really challenging. Not as challenging it is for them, but the amount of times where I've been sort of in the middle of stuff and noticed that there's a man down over there somewhere, and I'm like, what do I do? What is the etiquette on this? Do we stop? Do we carry on? Often you need to have that conversation with their partner and be like, I think they're having some issues. Do you want to go and help? And then see where you go from there.
I think so. From my side of things, obviously, we're approaching things from a hotwifing standpoint. So we're looking for single guys instead of couples. I think when you're with couples and you're having that play, if there is, you've got two sets of teams here.
Yeah.
And the teams are supporting each other, just like you said, even though there's play between partners. With us, we've been very fortunate to have play with single guys who have been absolutely out of this world, physically built, penises, what have you. If I could go to performance issues, we've also had times where Secret Vixens played with people and there have been performance issues. And that have been really difficult for them because they've got no one else. And for a single guy going out there, that is a massive problem because you don't have your wing person, you don't have your team. It's one team against you, so to speak. So, and you've got the husband watching and the wife's doing what she can. And that's gone two ways. We've often had gentlemen who I've received videos and it's quite clear they've been struggling, and vixens come back to me and said they didn't really know what to do. And on the flip side, and this is the advice I'd like to give, we've had men who have had performance issues, but it's understanding that that's not the end of your play. There are ways to deal with this. There are things you can do. And she's had wonderful experiences where I'm not talking about thumbing in a soft one. That's not what we're talking about here. It's the idea that there's pleasure to be had and intimacy to be had if there is a performance issue. And hopefully through the intimacy, through the other play.
How do you feel about it when they have that issue? Because I guess for you want to see her get fucked, right?
This is, and I don't want it to sound bad, this is an issue for me sometimes because my whole fantasy is about seeing my wife at the apex of what pleasure she can receive. So
she's more of an apex predator than anything else.
Oh God, absolutely, out of nowhere.
Like a tiny T-Rex. Not even tiny.
I want to see her get fucked and have incredible experiences. So when I know that hasn't happened, an example. We met a wonderful chap, really great experience, meeting him socially. They went and had a sexual encounter. And she came back and said, "Oh, how was it? I'd seen a few videos of things." And she said, "Oh yeah, it was nice." I said, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. Why? I want her to go away and have her mind.
Was it because she was so distracted by Swindon Swingers?
The room was so tiny.
So tiny, yeah. It was nice. It was all right. Thanks, Secret Vixen.
Stop it.
Got my back.
Stop it. She would have just told you and give you a pinch or something. She loves all that. No, she said all nice things about you.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear.
She said all the good stuff.
Yeah, I can end the podcast now. I got what I wanted.
Yeah, thanks, listeners. But I want her to go and be with, again, the confidence. We talk about how you have confidence in yourself and your abilities. And I wanted to go there and be blown away by how confident the person was and how great that experience was. If they aren't able to perform, it can have an issue on things. But I've watched her play with someone who did have some performance issues as things were going, but it went on for quite a long time and things came back and that person was able to create a wonderful environment in their room in the hotel we were in and great time. I often, when I'm looking for men, my wife calls me her hot wife PA.
This is fair, you are.
I know, right? But I like that job. I like the idea of looking for those single men who I think will provide her with that great experience. So if there are men out there listening who are on my side of the fence, that's definitely something you can enjoy. You can enjoy that aspect of the lifestyle. I love looking through the photos and looking through videos of people and thinking this person is the right person for my wife, but now I need to get to know them personally and talk to them and see if they're going to be a match for her. Yeah, if I've answered that question at all, but I want to ramble.
Yeah, I enjoyed it nonetheless. You do.
I like watching her get fucked.
That's basically what we've...
I just want to see a guy fuck her for like an hour and a half at least.
An hour and a half. How much space do you have left on your phone?
Now I've got a new phone now.
Yeah, I know.
And I found a new thing where you can store it off the phone.
Oh, okay.
It's stored on the phone. Because actually can be really damaging. You be very careful with content.
You have to be
kept on your person. That's not safe. So
Yeah, this is why no one at work is allowed to scroll on my phone. But I did have to, so I get a work phone as well. But what I hadn't realised is that my photos would automatically pull through to my work phone. So I had to cut that shit out because that wasn't good. You know when like your iPhone does like on this day last year or whatever, this is a memory. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God. The strange thing is that the strange thing, but the thing that will probably come as no surprise to anybody, that I probably have more videos of me fucking Secret Vixen than I do of Mrs. H on my phone. But what I also love is that your phone recognises faces. Yeah. So her name is in there, and I'll be like, oh, this is lovely. This is the day we did the train thing, and this is the day we did this and this. And I'm like, oh, this is not a child safe one.
No.
Why are we? Okay.
I've got quite a few videos on my person, and yes, when your face pops up on the page, would you see more from this person?
Maybe. Let's explore this and see what happens.
But you know me, Mr. H. I love capturing those memories, and for my personal preferences, I like being able to look back and watch those things. And Secret Vixen watches them too. She pretends she doesn't.
She does. I know she does.
I know she does.
I know she does. She'd never confirm it in public, though.
No, so we're putting out.
Yeah, via this. Well, she's not here.
She watches the porn she made.
Talk about her, not to her.
Well, now she's probably up there with a wand and a phone. That's probably what she likes doing.
Is that the new thing? Is
That's
it?
the thing.
Okay, that's fair. We'll tread back to that later when she's murdered us, probably.
With it, yes.
But yeah, exactly. So, what I'm interested here. So, as a guy in the lifestyle, how do you prepare to go out? What's your preparation for going out on we've got a social coming.
We have.
Soon. In fact, well, I say coming. By the time this gets out, it'll be way gone. We may have even talked about it on the podcast already, but at the point of recording, we've got some events coming up.
Very exciting.
What's your preparation plan?
Okay, so cycle back. That's self-love, that's self-respect. Looking for stuff that suits you, because I'm not fully happy with my body right now. I need to look after my body and make sure I'm happy and healthy. But I understand also that I can dress ways that make me feel good.
Yeah.
And give me the confidence in myself. So I will have a look at what I've already got in the cupboard in terms of clothes. I'll see if things fit, things match. Maybe I'll need a new shirt. I'm not sure. I've got a nice pair of shoes, which I wore, I think, to the Christmas shindig we did. I might pop those
Do we need to shoe collaborate?
Shoe-aborate.
Shoe-aborate.
That sounds like the tying up thing.
It does. Careful if you say it a few times, people will appear.
They'll appear.
Yeah.
Magic. I will definitely look at what I'm going to wear, and then as we get started, nice shower, get it nice and clean. Always like to have a haircut and a little trim of the beard before an event, which means often look like a hobo in the immediate before the event.
I hate it when someone turns up and they say, "Oh, we're seeing you," and it's like, I don't know, the week before isn't quite so bad because the stuff you do.
Can cover that,
but like a few days before, like, "Oh, should we catch up and have a bite to eat?" Whatever. And I'm like, but I can't do the beard because I want the beard done properly, and like the hair I need done properly. First world problems. Yeah, come on in. Yeah, we'll catch up with you. That's fine.
It's me sticking a dump.
We'll do a video call. No problem. Why are you wearing a mask? I don't know.
It's a sex thing.
Yeah.
So definitely nice shave, nice haircut beforehand.
Yep.
But then again, for me, so much is based on like what my wife might be wearing as well. I'm really into sort of knowing what she's going to wear. She has no idea what we're wearing next week, by the way.
No, I know.
Absolutely.
I know she is. This conversation has rifled around the house over the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
And it's been there's been some ideas thrown out there, I think.
I always find though I always feel different though when I'm going on a date with Secret Vixen to meet a single guy than to a fantastic lifestyle event. In the lifestyle event where again we're very much a team and we're going there together and representing ourselves and chatting to people and having fun and meeting people, I want to appear best I can.
Yeah.
I always know when I'm meeting a single guy, not that I am playing second fiddle to my wife.
Yeah.
I'm happy to look nice and presentable, but I understand that, she's going to be looking at other people that evening, and that's part of the excitement for me as well. I don't dress like a hobo. I don't know. That's coming off like that. I still look nice. I still dress well.
It's only 80% bin troll.
Exactly. But I that is always on my mind as well. I think when I'm off with her and she's having those dates, that power dynamic.
Do you downplay it a bit, the way you look for that? So you're going off to meet a single guy.
I wouldn't wear sparkly shoes. No.
But would you sort of go, oh, well, I want her to look at him and I want her to be really, but
she does.
But she does. But do you sort of downplay your own outfit and efforts as a result a little bit?
Yeah, I wouldn't wear something that's quite flamboyant. Perhaps we're going out. I think a great piece of advice that you gave on the show, I can't remember which episode, was wear the talking point outfit, have something on you that draws attention to you. Mm-hmm. But when I'm out with Secret Vixen, I don't want the attention on me at all. The attention's on her. So I'm always encouraging her, you should wear your superhero shoes or Just wear those trousers that make you really nice, or that top looks great on you. It's all that focus on what she's wearing and what she's doing. You go, what are you wearing, Secret Stag? I don't know. I just throw something on so I look half decent and clean and nice. I don't need the attention at that. I'm happy for that, if that makes sense.
I always find it fascinating because I think, you know, because we see you represented in a variety of different ways. We've seen you we've seen all the various faces of Secret Stag and Secret Vixen, I think.
Oh, I'm like a quintesson, mate. I've got all the faces.
All the faces. Manny faces.
Manny faces,
Yeah. And what I find so interesting is when you get a bit of a spotlight, people flock to you, and I don't think you see it as much as everyone else does. And it is marvellous because I think the thing that springs to mind is when you folks do the tours and you've got your butler's jacket on or whatever it is, and you're doing the tours. You've got the headset on. Still owe me for another headset, by the way. Another event coming soon.
Where is it?
Yeah, exactly. Where's my headset?
With the link.
Oh, that's fine. No, don't worry about it. It's fine. I'll forgive you. Just the singular one that we've got on the table here. It's not.
It reminded me.
It's terrible. Fine. Anyway, personal issues aside, what I love about seeing you folks like that is you absolutely shine, my friend, and people adore you for it. And it's so funny to see you soak in that spotlight and have that attention, because so often with these things, like you say, you are out and about and you want Secret Vixen to be the belle of the ball. Yeah, the belle of the ball. Yeah. But for those little moments, you become that. That's you. You get that attention, and it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. And I think it powers you up a little bit, but not half as much as seeing her being interacted with. But I think on those events, it's really fascinating because you do these tours and you get that level of, it's a huge confidence boost because people they'll go to you two for the tours and they are excited to do them. Even if they've done them 3 or 4 times before, even if they know the club, they'll still do them because the power of what you folks bring to the table, but in particular you, I think.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind.
And it's nice to see you shine in that way and have that attention. And I love it when that happens. And I've seen her get grumpy over that occasionally, which is even funnier. If people choose your tour over hers, she doesn't like it. She's going to kill me for all of these things that we're talking about. But I love the fact that you get that moment, and it brings so much joy to see you so happy and receiving that rightful attention, because you're a good-looking fella and you dress well. Thank you. It's Compliment City today, but it's great to see that flourish with yourself.
I love that we were able to find this community, because I think if COVID hadn't happened and we hadn't spoken to yourselves, met you on Twitter, and X, whatever, we wouldn't be able to be in this path. We would have been more on the hot wife path where we play, where we exist. And we talked again about having that self-love and self-confidence in yourself. And that's definitely something that I enjoy, the feeling of when we're out and we have those experiences. I do appreciate that people are enjoying spending time with me and with Secret Vixen and giving me nice compliments, make me feel happy about myself. I do love it. I also, though, I know you've seen me when the power dynamic has been massively shifted.
Yeah.
When Secret Vixen has been, Ashley Del Toro, we talked about it quite a lot. A man who I think is a great guy, I really respect and really appreciate him. And
he's been in my house.
He's been here in this house.
Yeah.
Finally, we got him here.
Yeah, after 17 planes, trains and automobiles.
Absolutely. If he's listening, we're going to get you here. It'll be much easier next time.
Yeah.
But I know a bit red flaggy for you and Mrs. H. I remember she said it because she hadn't seen me turn that flip that switch and become that much, much lower power status, which it was really, wasn't it? Because when we have those encounters, it's very different.
Yeah, and I think we'd seen elements of that, but not to and we're talking obviously when, I guess, in particular when he was here and you sat with Secret Vixen and you're sort of sat 6 meters behind or whatever and blending into the background and it was quite a different version of you, and we'd always seen a little bit of that.
May I ask before you go on, a different version of her as well, probably?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
I'd say so. And I think, she and I had that conversation actually. That was quite interesting. But that's one of the things we did talk about, I think, in our car journey on the way back from Swindon. So that level of, it's quite a fascinating one. There's too many things for me to cover in one space.
I know.
But going back to the initial one, so seeing you when you were a little bit more submissive, I guess is the word.
I would absolutely accept that. That's fine.
And the Secret Vixen and Secret Stag relationship seemed to not really exist. See, it did.
No,
but to the point where that Ashley Del Toro and Secret Vixen were the couple in this situation. And it was quite a powerful visual statement, even just down to the way they were sat together, and the way that you were not excluded, but
you say excluded,
part of that dynamic. And that, for me, I felt a little bit more into the sort of cuckolding sort of space. And I know you and we've had this chat, we've had the chat on the podcast before. It was certainly a little bit more of that area for you.
Well, I mean, this is something that I'm writing about in my upcoming blog chapter.
Ooh, spoiler alert! You have a blog.
Oh, we have a blog too. But it definitely is something that crept up on me. But something that is something that we both had to be cognizant that was happening. That when we were with certain men in certain situations, the power dynamic was flipped way more into that cuckolding place.
Yeah.
And it's taken a little while for both of us to understand that. There's a marvellous moment when we were out on dates that's happened recently. We've been on dates with some wonderful chaps. And where Secret Vixen's on a date with me, we go out on the date together.
Yeah.
And there's this marvellous moment where she is into this person we're meeting for the first time, possibly, where there's it's like a flip of a switch.
Yeah.
Where she's now on a date with him and I'm there.
Yeah.
It's gone from a date, we're there together and he's there, to now they're there.
Yeah.
And I'm there. Does that make any sense?
They're there.
They're there and I'm there.
Yeah.
Them in there.
In there.
Over there.
Okay. Right.
Hello there. And it is a marvellous power trip for me, which sounds odd that you can feel energized and powered when your power is reduced.
Yeah.
It's an odd thing. And it's something that we're coming to terms with now. She certainly enjoys being more dominant with me in those situations, and I enjoy being submissive with her. And I like it even more when the gentleman's she's submissive to him and dominant of me.
Yeah.
And it is complex and we're sort of feeling it out as we go.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that we enjoy. And it links back to what you were saying about dressing in a way that maybe takes the focus off you. You look the more acceptable. But yeah. Blending away into the background is part of what is enjoyable for me. I love seeing her elevated, even if that is at the expense of me being denigrated, not in a bad way.
Oh, I understand. And did you find yourself sort of slipping into that without quite realising it at first?
I think so. I hadn't realised, because brings back again to the performance issues you talked about previously. She'd been with some men who were really lovely men, and I'd only been able to see her a few times, actually be there.
Yeah.
Just because of all manner of reasons. And the first time I was really able to see her in that way, we went to New York, actually, and we wrote a chapter on that. And that was a hugely powerful experience for both of us, because not just because the person was really fun and the experience was really dramatic and romantic, but just that the level of the power switch was so obvious to her and to me. And like, they were kissing. We went to a bar and they were kissing each other in the bar in front of everyone. And she didn't care. And that filled me with such excitement that she was quite obviously married to me, but so brazenly with him. And that just filled me with such erotic energy. It's hard to explain. It's certainly not for everyone. And I started to realize, as you said, we fell into it. And I thought, well, actually, I would like more of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like more of these experiences.
Because I've seen you in situations, if you don't mind,
Go.
where she's delved a little bit too much into that and you've asked her to pull back. Yes. And I guess it depends on the situation, how you're feeling, how much it's played into, how much it's dialed back. And it's very clear that you're kind of, like you say, you're still exploring those dynamics and how it works, and what might be right for one particular person might not be right for that, for another relationship that you're going with.
It's such a strange situation. And I can definitely say, obviously, with the wonderful bedhoppers who we've known for so long now, and I actually spoke with Mrs. H about this recently, that love you both dearly, and we're almost verging on poly relationships.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we care about you so much. And because there is that level of care sometimes, Secret Vixen sometimes starts to go into, because automatically she's feeling powerful and energized. And obviously you're fantastic, as I've already said, being a single guy and being inclusive. That includes right there in that sexual encounter. So those sort of high high gap power dynamics start to come into play. And sometimes I'm like, oh, no, wait a second. Not with this guy, because I really like this guy. I don't want to do that with him. He's my pal. I don't want to do that cuckolding stuff with this guy.
And it is a tricky thing, because as wonderful as the relationship that we all have is, it can mean that certain things just aren't going to work in that way for all of us. And but so much other good stuff that comes with that relationship.
I mean, now we're just blowing smoke up our own arse.
I know, but I'm enjoying it.
But I am very, very grateful to have met wonderful people in my life. And you, Mrs. H, are wonderful people that we're hopefully going to hang around with for
a couple more weeks, I reckon, at least. Yeah, until at least the next event, we need the tour guides.
Oh, please! I need to get the.
You need to get the headset. Yeah, exactly. I'll mention it a couple more times just to sink that one in.
And I think we've often always said that we are trying to support each other through our different dynamics. And I love that we, get to see you and Mrs. H have your adventures, and you enjoy seeing us have our adventures. And it is complex sometimes of where that power is.
Yeah, I agree. But I think the thing that I've really loved about this whole relationship is how we've celebrated the wins. And with some folks, you kind of, I was out there doing that with them or whatever. What we found with you is that actually it doesn't matter what you're doing as long as you're having fun, and we care about that. And then when we get back together, when we chat, we celebrate that success. And there's no, okay, you might go, oh, bastards, they're out doing this. We wish it was us. But I think that's envy rather than jealousy.
Absolutely.
It's like, oh, we just want to be there. We just want to be having the fun. And what I love is that point where we can all go back and go, oh, you did this? That's great. That's amazing. Like, that's so cool. Also, like the constant asking of Secret Vixen as to whether she had a nice time. Did you enjoy that? Something you liked? Yes.
Because she never will say, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
But that whole process is so much fun. And I do feel like a victory for us is a victory for you, and a victory for you is a victory for us.
Agreed. And I think in lifestyle, shouldn't we all be that? Wouldn't it be better if everyone was like that? Because we're all sort of in this together, in this lifestyle. The world may see us however we see us, but in this community, if we spread the love and support each other and celebrate each other's wins, help each other when we're not, when we get things wrong. And we talked about looking after ourselves and giving that self-love and encouraging people to be the best they can, so we can all enjoy it together. Yeah.
See, what people think we're doing is blowing smoke up each other's asses, but what we're really doing is role modelling, my friend. Role modelling. You've just been role modelled. Yeah. Gentle listener, thank you very much for that. So we've got time for a couple more questions before we sort of run out. Yeah, a couple more. So what I want to know is, how do you feel, right, when ladies approach you and want to interact with you?
Gosh. You know what? This is a very good question. Now, I've been very lucky because I have been able to meet and kiss and play with some just wonderful women, beautiful women.
And some awful ones.
And stop! Oh my God. Maybe. No.
I'm joking, of course.
Of course. Maybe. No, of course. But in those moments, it was so far away from where we thought we were going when we started this path. We mentioned that we thought we were going down a hot wife path, which obviously is our primary dynamic. But we've met this wonderful community that we're now part of. And I love it. I love being part of it. There are times when I have felt those anxieties that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Play anxieties and performance anxieties when I've been with other women, and trying my best to moderate myself and manage that. And Secret Vixen has been in my team, like we said earlier, and helping me when I needed help.
Bodes well.
Yeah, there you go. And it's interesting because how she helps me, though, is she helps me by getting into that hot wife space. And I enjoy watching her play, and that helps me then refocus my efforts, because I must be honest that sometimes my flaw, and it's something I need to work on, is that I am so focused on what she is doing that I am not always properly focused where I need to be. And I've talked to Mrs. H about this, honestly, because there have been times when you and Secret Vixen have been doing your thing. And as we already said, you're both very good at doing what you do. And Mrs. H is exceptional at doing what she does. And sometimes I get that anxiety. I'm like, oh, I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. I'm supposed to be the guy over there in the background in the clothes that
I get that.
In the clothes that blend in with the background and sitting there watching. And that really is my default. So if we are in a true swap dynamic, it's something I have to work on, and I have to look at myself, because we want everyone to have.
So is that something that you might explore more of in the future, or is it a case of if it comes up, it comes up?
I think it's more of if it comes up, if it comes up. When we met you, we'd had some, it blindsided us, put it that way, because we didn't know if we were going to play with women and play with couples again because of the dynamic. And we did. And through you, we met some other wonderful people who we ended up playing with as well. Secret Vixen I know she doesn't enjoy me playing with other women in the same way as I enjoy her playing with men. She very much is if she's got something to play, if she's got a toy to play with.
There's a reason we call ourselves Team Attitude.
Yes, you're very much suited to how this works.
Yes.
It is an alignment of the stars. As long as you can both play, you'll do it. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah. There's other people involved. What? Yeah, exactly. What are they doing?
I don't know. At this point right now, I am very much into this hotwifing mode. And yes, this idea of like the cuckolding and looking at the power dynamic play, that's really interesting me. But I don't want to lose touch with our community and be part of it. Recently we went to the wonderful New Year's Eve event at Astasia with some wonderful people. And I was lucky enough to have a lovely sexual encounter with some beautiful women there. And I had a great time. And in that moment, I embraced their interest in me and I found it really fun. Secret Vixen was there, being a right pest, like in disgust. And that powered me up as well. I was like, ha, look at me go, wife. Yeah. So I don't know. I'll take the future as it comes, I guess.
Okay. That sounds good. No, I think that's a fair thing. I think it is really fascinating because quite often you'll be in that space of your traditional dynamic. And like I said before, occasionally things will happen and you'll get powered up and we all get caught in that moment when that's going on. And I think that's absolutely fine. As long as you know where you're at and you know what you really want from those experiences and you're not just doing it for the sake of like...
Absolutely.
Which I know you're not, obviously.
No, absolutely. You've got to treat people with love and care and respect.
And then just jizz on their tits.
Oh, for God's sake. That's the thing that happened. That did happen. So Mrs. Truthers is listening. If you're listening, Mrs. Truthers, I'm so sorry.
Are you though?
No.
No, not in the slightest.
She encouraged it. You encouraged it, Mrs. Truthers.
So any final questions to wrap things up, man?
Only with our blog here, with your podcast here, are you looking forward to 2024? Got some things planned for the podcast?
I am. I've got some. Well, we've recorded a whole bunch of stuff this weekend.
We have.
So if you're not enjoying Secret Stag today, then good luck to you because we've got another episode with him. Yeah,
so sorry.
And then we've got a Secret Vixen one as well. So
Absolutely.
I'm going to play klaxon all over this. Wah, wah, wah. Constantly. So we've got that. We've got
Events.
some events wise. As I said before, we're kind of gearing up for a social, which will be long gone by the time this episode gets out. But I'm hoping that's going to be really good. It'd be good to get back to doing some more of the local socials.
Absolutely.
I enjoy the socials probably more than the actual events, I think, because you can let your hair down a little bit more, but also I like the fact that you can't really do anything. There's something and
just a big tease.
It is a big tease, but I like that. That's kind of fun and you live in that moment. And I think we all do.
I appreciate it. Absolutely.
Which is cool. We've got our black and white event with Wanderlust with Kate and Darryl, so that's going to be cool. Another hotel takeover, that's going to be like in
lots
that.
of good stuff.
The room crawl, that's all good fun. But after that, I think we want to get out and explore a few clubs again, see some clubs that we've not been to. But also we're feeling, like most people, the heavy bank balance of Christmas.
Absolutely.
And having had some adventures last year. So we're going to need to be a little bit careful about the old spending.
Absolutely. I do have one more question as the episode draws to a close.
Oh, please.
Who's going to say the thing at the end? Who's going to do the thing?
Do you want to do the thing?
I can't do the thing.
You can do the thing.
No, I can't.
Would you like to do the thing?
That would suggest it's our bed, like you and I.
Yeah, it is.
Are they hopping into our bed?
Yeah, that's fine.
Right,
You pretty much live here anyway, so we might as well do it.
Go on, then.
Do you want to do the thing?
Well, thanks for hopping into our bed.
Oh, that was great, mate. That was great. I love that.
Oh, bravo.
thing. There's
Yeah.
something, and
Just a big tease.
it is a big tease, but I like that. That's kind of fun, and you live in that moment, and I think we all do.
I appreciate it, absolutely.
Which is cool. We've got our black and white event with Wanderlust with Kate Darrell, so that's going to be cool. Another hotel takeover, that's going to be like in
lots
that.
of good stuff
The
coming
room
up.
crawl, that's all good fun. But after that, I think we want to get out and explore a few clubs again, see some clubs that we've not been to. But also we're feeling, like most people, the heavy bank balance of Christmas.
Absolutely.
And having had some adventures last year. So we're going to need to be a little bit careful about the old spending.
Absolutely. I do have one more question as the episode draws to a close.
Oh, please.
Who's going to say the thing at the end? Who's going to do the thing?
Do you want to do the thing?
I can't do the thing.
You can do the thing.
No, I can't.
Would you like to do the thing?
Because that would suggest that it's our bed, like you and I.
Yeah, it is.
Are they hopping into our bed?
Yeah, that's
All
fine.
right,
It's
then.
you pretty much live here anyway, so we might as well do it.
Go on, then.
Do you want to do the thing?
Well, thanks for hopping into our bed.
Oh, that was great, mate. That was great. I love that.
Oh, bravo.